Hello, freak bitches. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? Welcome back to another one. So, I've been, for the last little bit, we've needed to do a March Madness. And so, I wanted y'all to look at this. Like, come on. Come on, look at this. Look at this. We're going to do a tier list. Look, we even got Duke right here. I'll drag Duke up here, put him in the Final Four just for fun and stuff. But for the last handful of weeks, we have seen that college basketball is starting to heat up a little bit. And because it's March, we got March Madness. I thought, how fun would it be to do a video and kind of give a prediction, well, not a prediction, but just kind of, and you'll see when we get into it and we discuss a little bit. What we're gonna do is there have been some timely posts from the March Madness account. And what they've talked about is they've talked about how, hey, if the bracket started today, if, and we've seen it with the NHL as well. If the NHL playoffs started today, this is what it would look like. And especially after, for example, with yesterday's game with the Ducks and the Oilers and how they came back. Yeah, considering who the hot teams are right now, if the playoffs started today for the NHL, I think, let me think here. Well, number one, first things first, Panthers aren't making it, so no chance at a three-peat. But teams that are hot, that have been hot, for example, like not the Blues, the Lightning. I wonder who could beat the Lightning. I wonder who could beat the Ducks, because, if I'm not mistaken, let's go. Here we go. Fun little side tangent. Here we go. Let's look at standings here. I haven't looked at the standings in a while, which I don't know if the standings will they show up, considering no, they won't. That looks absolutely terrible. You can't see anything. Okay, then never mind. Forget it was even an idea. But so what I thought we'd do is just with kind of, there have been posts lately about, because I was scrolling through, I've liked it here periodically to just kind of keep up and stuff, because again, the basketball season started towards the end of the football season, so I haven't been able to keep up too much. I have made some kind of, not, what's the word I'm looking for, just remarks about how, hey, Texas Tech, BYU, I don't think I've talked about Duke a little bit, which they've posted the resume of what Duke has, where I believe Duke has 10 top 25 wins, something around there. That might be the number. And we've known about Arizona, we've known about who else has been really good this year in college basketball. Miami, Arizona, Duke, UConn. And Michigan, yeah. And then the other thing too is a couple weekends ago, we had the tournament thing where Duke played Michigan, and then Arizona played Houston, I believe, because we had a top matchup of the best teams in college basketball. Anyways, what else? So, what I thought that I'd do, and some of the things, is I wanted to look at, if the season started, sorry, I had to mess a little bit with something to make sure this stays on, because once we're done chit-chatting a little bit about basketball, we will most likely be doing a gaming stream, just depending on how long this takes, because I want to go over a little bit of kind of what I see. We'll do a little bit of a tier list. I'll go over some teams, just because of how I cropped it. It didn't look the best and so you don't see the team. There are, okay, Duke, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 teams. There are 24 teams that I said, hey, you know what? Let's take a little look, see at these 24 teams. So we'll do that. And then, so yeah, I wanted to look at, if the bracket started today, we'll do a little rundown of this, and then we'll also do a tier list of 24 teams, and it is going off of this list. For example, Tennessee's in there, Villanova's in there, Illinois is in there. So we'll go over that. We'll talk about that. But if you guys like college basketball, be sure to hit that like button. And yeah, let's get into it. So, first thing, Duke. I don't, with what I've heard and what I've seen, I don't think Duke's going to have any problem till Michigan State. If these two if that's how it ends up going. Now, where will Duke meet up? In the Sweet 16, because with how the bracket lays out, regional final will be the winner out of these two groups and the winner out of these two groups. So, I think Tennessee probably takes care of business against USF. Michigan State does beat High Point. And then Michigan State probably takes care of good old Rocky Top. And then we have Duke against Michigan State in what would be the Sweet 16. And out of Duke and Michigan State, and again, there's no visuals to like show how the bracket would play out, but like if these two played and it moved on, and these two played, they'd move on. I'm just kind of blitzing through it. But out of the Sweet 16, out of Duke and Michigan State, I would want to see Michigan State win. I've been polling for Michigan State a lot the last handful of years. It would be cool to see Coach Izzo win another one. And like we know Duke, like we've seen Duke before. And that's what the problem is. Like there's stereotypes out there. Like even Dude Perfect's made the video about how like Duke will break your bracket every time because you give them too much praise. It's like, ugh. But so yeah, probably Sweet 16 when these two meet up. Okay, but then Louisville will take care of business against whoever this is. Kansas, I could see Kansas getting upset by no, not this early into the bracket, but there is a lot of talk and discussion because again, from what I can remember and what's been talked about during the regular season, there's a lot of talk around Kansas and if Kansas is going to be ready to go and if everybody's bought in because right now not everybody is from some of the reports on what's going on. Like we have load management from the stuff that I have seen, and again I haven't followed and kept on it 100%, so it could all just be horse shit for all I know. But apparently one of the Kansas players is load managing and sitting games in college basketball, which that sounds a little silly considering they're only playing, 25 games? No, because Miami, Ohio's 29. 30 games? They play 30 games, my bad. But if Louisville plays Kansas, so this would be, these two play each other, and then, hold on, they'd meet in the round of 32, yeah. Louisville's getting the upset there. Villanova and Georgia. I'll take Villanova, and then I'll take Illinois, and then I'll take. I could see Villanova catching some heat, though. I mean, if you beat Kansas, stack a couple wins. Can get it done. So yeah, then Villanova against Duke in the East regional final. Probably Duke moves on to the Final Four. Okay, let's go to the South. UConn probably solos everybody here. So yeah, UConn's gonna move on. They'll probably play SMU, and then UConn beats SMU. Arkansas. Okay, these two teams have played in the past before, and Arkansas has beaten UConn before. I don't know about this one. Okay. Texas Tech. Ooh, I think then Miami, Ohio. I'll take them to beat North Carolina. Nebraska, I think, can beat North Dakota State, and then we got Nebraska against Miami, Ohio. Oh gosh, dude, I don't even freaking know. But here's the funny thing about March Madness, and with just how crazy um, it's gonna get, and with the upsets. I wouldn't be surprised if the South is where we have a little bit of madness. Where, I mean, we have seen Texas Tech's resume. Texas Tech can win some of these top matchups. We saw how far Arkansas went last year with Coach Calipari. UConn, we saw Nebraska, how Nebraska played up until the Michigan game, and some of their quality wins. Houston, to play it well, oh my gosh. Okay, UCLA against Kentucky. Houston probably moves on the most. And then the final one standing, I'm going to give it to Miami, Ohio. And then we have Miami, Ohio against Houston. That's probably where their little Cinderella run ends. And then I'll have Houston in the regional final. And then over here, I have UConn. I'm going to have to go UConn, Texas Tech. And then I'm going to sit with Texas. Okay, I don't like this right now. Because, again, we're going to have to watch a lot of basketball and get caught up in conference play and the tournaments when they show up. I'm going to pick Texas Tech right now. And the reason why I'm going to pick Texas Tech is to open the door for Houston to have a little bit of redemption and get back to the Final Four. Because for it to be chalk where it's ones all around, I don't think that's going to happen 2 years in a row. I know it happened last year, but I mean, if there was a 1 seed to fall, probably not going to be Duke. I'd lean more towards UConn. And this team, because Arizona, the number 1 seed against the number 16 UMBC. Tell me, where have we heard this before? I've seen this play out before. We'll get there, though. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But yeah, probably Houston moving on. And so then we have Duke, Houston, so a 2 seed and a 1 seed. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Texas Tech still has a little bit of firepower with them. I don't know. But then 1 seed UConns they can be a problem. They could be a problem. So, or this could be the year where Miami, because again, I think Miami, and I'll say it too in the tier list when we talk about the tier list, Miami could very well be one of those teams like Loyola Chicago or NC State a couple years back, where the rankings, when you look at these, doesn't mean anything. Well, it does mean something, but yeah. Right now, I'll sit with Houston. Okay, let's move on. Arizona versus UMBC. Again, we have seen this play out before. We have seen Virginia lose to Furman. We've seen Arizona lose to... Arizona was Princeton. It was Princeton. They lost to Princeton. We've seen UMBC beat Virginia. I've seen this before. Arizona peaked way too soon, and I mean way too soon. I'll take them. And then weirdly enough, coming out of like this little part, why not? Utah State, which I know that's not how that's going to go. St. John's against Liberty, give me St. John's. Bama against Utah Valley, give me Bama. And then so we have St. John's against Utah State, give me St. John's as a 5 seed in the final. Give me Gonzaga. And then out of this group, give me Purdue. And then Purdue and Gonzaga, give me Gonzaga. And then out of Gonzaga and St. John's, give me... I'm torn. Because I was riding real high on St. John's last year. Very high, and that bit me in the ass. Well, Hmm. Yeah, I'll take Coach Few. Coach Few and the Gonzaga Bulldogs. So yeah, Gonzaga to come out of the West, Houston to come out of the South, Duke to come out of the East. So we have 3 out of the 4 Final Four teams. Then again, this isn't set in stone yet. We still got to play some ball. But yeah, I don't trust. I don't trust Arizona at all. No, not even a little bit. Okay, out of the Midwest, um, this one feels pretty chalk, and the reason why is Miami's probably going to be St. Mary's. Michigan's probably going to be Miami, so Michigan's going to be over here. Vandy, yeah, I'd take the lower seeds here. Then we got Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin could beat Florida because again, Florida had a lot of turnover in their roster. A lot of their guys who won the national championship last year went to the league and went to the G Leagues and stuff. So them coming back and not even a little bit. Not gonna happen. So there's parts of me where I could see like New Mexico winning this one against TCU or whatever, and then Wisconsin getting a big win here. And then we have a 3-6 upset type deal where Wisconsin, sometimes it just depends on the year. Like Wisconsin's always one of those teams where whether it's Wisconsin, UCLA, Gonzaga, Purdue, Wichita State. I'm trying to think of other teams. Michigan sometimes, Florida State, Texas Tech, where it doesn't matter where these guys are ranked. They get 2 wins under their belt, 3 wins sometimes. And I could see Wisconsin beat a team that beats Florida, moves on. And then out of St. Louis and Indiana, give me St. Louis, Iowa State, Red State. I know it sounds stupid, but just with momentum and why they're here, I'll pick St. Louis to beat Iowa State. So then we got Wisconsin, St. Louis, Virginia, and then Michigan, and then give me Michigan, and then give me St. Louis. I know it sounds no, give me Wisconsin. Sorry. Yeah, give me Wisconsin, and Wisconsin has beaten Michigan. So we have a little fun rematch there, but then give me Michigan ultimately. So then in the final 4, we got Michigan, Arizona, Houston, and then Duke. I don't know. I mean, just west, south, east. So then if I'm looking at the bracket, okay, we're looking at a bracket here. We're looking at the bracket, okay. East. Okay, so then West and Midwest. Okay, I'm not tripping here. So then Duke against Houston. I don't think Houston could go back. Well, we got a little bit of the redemption arc of them kind of coming up short. But then Duke getting revenge on Houston too. Very, very intriguing. Let's go over here first. Let's look at this one first. So Gonzaga and Michigan. Give me Michigan. So then Michigan against Houston or Michigan against Duke. Yep, Michigan against Duke. Yep. Michigan against Duke. And then give me Michigan to win the national championship. And just when I said that, sorry boys, I jinxed you. Damn it. Whoops. And just like that, Michigan's chances went. Sorry, boys. Didn't mean to jinx him. But we have the thing though is with college basketball, and why I wanted to kind of make this fun video and do a stream on this is tournament play. Let's see. Let's look up when tournament play actually starts. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we begin. Will this show it? Bubble Watch, teams on the bubble, bracketology, the watch guide, how Saturday changed. Okay, this one's super cropped too. Whoops. Where is? Schedule. We do schedule. Oh, okay. So this is next Sunday. We got Michigan State versus Michigan. And that's the last. Yeah. So then we got so that must be when tournament play starts. Let me look up, for example, like Big Ten basketball tournament. Everything you need to know about the Big Ten. It takes place in Chicago. Oh, this year it will be in Chicago. Okay, because I was about to say, doesn't it take place in Lucas Oil? Cool logo. Okay, let me look at the schedule. Tournament. Let's do, for example, ticket information. If we're gonna go buy a ticket, general public will begin. Will go on sale. Dude, they've been on sale for over a handful of months. What seems to be the problem here? Okay, we gotta do this the hard way then. Let me do. Oh, Tuesday. Okay. Okay. Yeah, first round begins Tuesday. Features all 18 Big Ten teams. And then again, we go back over here. Like, let's look. Now, I'm not saying that this can't happen, but like, let's go to the Big Ten. I would think with all 18 teams. I mean, right now, if you look, you can't see. What about if we do this one? Can you see with this one? Nope, you can't. Sorry, people. Sorry about that. Okay. Michigan, Nebraska, Michigan State, Illinois, Purdue. And then after Purdue, from all the way down Wisconsin, all the way down here to Penn State, which let me scroll down a little bit more. Which Penn State went 3-15. It's like their football and their basketball team joined together and said, "Hey, let's not do good this year." No, Joking, of course. But Purdue, which is this one right here, they are the last. So Wisconsin, UCLA, and everybody else not ranked. Purdue is the last ranked team. Illinois, Michigan State, Nebraska, and Michigan, they're all ranked, which in fact, we have 5 teams from the Big Ten ranked in the top 15. I think a fun storyline I could say in a video, Big Ten Masterclass, where, hey, look at this, from the Big Ten, kind of like, oh shit, who are we talking about? During the NFL bracket, the NFC West, where Seahawks, 49ers, and the Rams, you know, we got 5 teams from the Big Ten in the top 15 playing good ball right now. But anyways, so yeah, if the tournament started today, I think a lot of people would want the final to be Michigan against Nebraska or Michigan against Michigan State. But because that's what we want, what's going to end up happening? Probably Illinois versus Nebraska or something. Yeah, so we'll have to follow that pretty closely too, because I think the other thing too with this basketball, and like we've seen it in previous years, let's go back a handful of years to NC State, North Carolina. I was predicting North Carolina to win that year. I think for the Pac-12, I picked Arizona. For the ACC of North Carolina. For the Big 12, I think I picked Houston or something like that. I can't remember. But, I mean, some of these teams will catch fire. Like right now, when we're looking at the standings and the rankings, for example, let me look here. Let's go back to it. So, I think, I might be wrong, I think when NC State went, I think they were a bubble team, and right now what they were talking about with some bubble teams were Ohio State, and then we also saw it too as well. Let me go over here. Where are they? Missouri. Yes, Missouri with the SEC. They're sitting here at the 11th seed. So again, who's to say that when we get going here, what if we got Iowa and then we got Ohio State in these 2 positions right here, both sitting at 10 and 8. What if they start stringing together some wins, and then, oh, look at that, you won the Big Ten, now you get to go dancing? Because I think that's how it goes. Is you win the tournament, you get to go dancing. For fun, with regards to predictions, I guess for the Big Ten, I'll predict Michigan. I know that's pretty weak because it's like, wow, that's pretty original. For the American Conference, let's take Wichita State, shake it up a little bit, because you saw South Florida was in the mix. They were the 12 seed projected to go play Tennessee. We got South Florida here, so I'll pick Wichita State, which is this team. Out of the I don't even know. Out of the ACC, no, I'm not gonna say Duke. I'm not gonna say it. Will they win it? Most likely. Out of the Big 12, so we got Arizona, Houston, Texas Tech, Iowa State, and Kansas, and then a little bit farther down, they're in the middle of the pack with the Big 12 when it comes to records and standings. BYU is sitting there at the 19th seed. Those are the only ranked teams. For fun and for shits and giggles, give me Texas Tech. Why not? I saw Texas Tech beat BYU, and I saw Texas Tech beat Arizona. Why not? So I'll pick Texas Tech there. Out of the Big East, give me... you know what? Because he's catching a lot of heat and a lot of flames right now. Give me Creighton, because that's the other thing that's happened too lately is a lot of coaches have come out and started to talk about like, oh my gosh, we are struggling right now. Whether it's Creighton, whether it's Kansas, whether it's the guy from Kansas State who recently got fired. But yeah, 8-11. And again, this prediction correct? No, this is very wrong. The final is probably going to be a rematch of last year. It's probably going to come down to UConn and St. John's, because if it's not UConn, it's Villanova. And then the other teams that have been in the final, I mean, Georgetown won it a couple years ago, but again, they haven't been back since. Butler, I think it's been a decade since Butler's been. But UConn, Villanova, Seton Hall, and Creighton are like the 4 teams that are genuinely in the mix or at, get to go. St. John's, they weren't like this. Like St. John's, I would, this might be a fun video to make. I could fact check myself and look back. If I'm not mistaken, I think the equivalent of St. John's would also be where Indiana was sitting with college football, where we know about them, but they're not really there. You know what I mean? Because DePaul, we've known about DePaul, we've known about Providence. I mean, Marquette wasn't Marquette when we look at it. Like, I want y'all to look at this. Marquette, the Golden Eagles, they're 5-13, and if I'm not mistaken, I think selfishly and stupidly 2 years ago, when they were the 2 seed, yeah, they're the 2 seed or the 3 seed a handful of years back. They lost to Texas. I think they either lost to Texas or they lost to somebody. They lost to somebody. I don't remember. Maybe it was Miami, like the U. But yeah, or Texas. It was somebody. But anyways, Marquette was like the 2 seed or the 3 seed, and they ended up losing the game, which, yeah, it happens. Out of the Big Sky, give me Weber State. Why not? No. And then out of the Big Ten, I already predicted Michigan. Out of the Big West Conference, you know what? Give me UC San Diego Tritons, because everybody thought that they would beat Michigan last year because they were picking that 12-5 upset. Now, they did give Michigan a little bit of run for their money, but Michigan ended up winning that one. Conference USA, next. Ivy Leagues. We know it's not going to be Brown. Ivy League's probably going to go to Yale. The Metro Atlantic's probably could go to Merrimack or St. Peter's, probably. The Mid-American, there are parts of me that want to see Miami, Ohio go undefeated all the way. Where it's kind of one of those things where, okay, yes, you went undefeated, but we're still not going to give you... Because, I mean, I've kind of been hitting this drum. I think Miami should be ranked a little bit higher because they are undefeated. Yes, have they been playing teams to the level of Duke, Michigan, Texas Tech, Arizona, BYU, No, not at all. But where the comparison of they haven't been playing big teams like this, it doesn't get equaled all the way out, but you can kind of make an argument with the fact that who they have played through the ups and downs of their own personal season, they've gone 29-0, and the game on Friday ended with a buzzer beater. So, like, it has taken a little bit of luck for them to win 29 in a row. So, but if they go undefeated in the regular season, win out in the Mid-American and win that, and then they would end up 30-0 in the regular season, 34-0, 35-0, because I think 5 games in the tournament, whatever. I don't think, I mean, looking at the bracket, the highest they would get is probably, well, let's go to what region they're in. They'd probably move from an 11 seed to a 5 seed, maybe. Because they wouldn't replace Houston, because if Houston wins the Big 12, Houston will probably stay locked here, because if UConn wins the Big East, they'll stay locked there. But then, okay, they move from the 11 seed maybe to the highest, a 3 seed. Or, yeah, I'm feeling that 6 seed. That 6 seed or a 5 seed, so that, you know, they end up meeting UConn in the Sweet 16, and it's like, oh yeah. Anyways, all right, back to it. Let me see, anybody else? Mountain West. Hey, it looks like the Aggies might win it all this year. I don't know, I haven't been keeping up. Moorhead State. No. And then out of the SEC. Wow, okay, I did not know this. So apparently the Gators are still number 1 in the SEC. Sitting here at 14-2. 23-6. I did not know this. I did not know that the Gators were still winning ball games. What game? The Duke and the UConn game. I remember seeing this. The Duke and the UConn game. Oh, but look at that. They've won since the Missouri game. $14 out of their last 15. And they have a chance to win their final 2. So 16 out of their last 17. Anyways. But when you look at teams who have gone undefeated, I mean back to back, like UConn was elite in 2024. Like they were the real deal. Like there was something special there. And the other thing, they did have returning starters. This Florida team does not. And UConn, like Gonzaga, like Villanova, under the Jay Wright era or the Roy Williams era of North Carolina, like when UConn's in the dance, they always have a shot. You know what I mean? And especially if they're, you lost 2 games in the regular season, 3 games in the, like, yeah, you're gonna turn around and kick some ass in the tournament. Is there any other big for the West Coast Conference? I think it's going to go to Gonzaga. I think that's it for the whole. Yeah, that's all of them. Yeah, that's all of them. I thought there was going to be more conferences. So then, yeah, because when it finishes out down here, down the Sun Belt, and then the West Coast, and then the Western Athletic, like that's everybody. There's nobody else. So we have, I think it's 20 conferences. 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 conferences. 31 conferences, 31 automatic bids. All right. All right. And then from there, because if I'm not mistaken, how it trickles down is you have your winner, and then you go to like the rankings. Because again, I don't know the bracketology behind it, but like when you look at the top 25, it's Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and Iowa State. Those are teams 1 through 4. They had to be 1-1-1-1-1, and then the 5, 6, 7, and 8 is Houston, UConn, Florida, and Purdue. So those would be your twos. Because I think UConn has lost recently, and that's why they dropped one. Yes, they lost to Creighton a couple days ago. But then they beat St. John's by 32 points, which we did talk about that in one of the streams. Just give a little tip of the cap and a little nod to it. Let me look. So, anyways, yeah, because I don't know how the whole seeding goes with college basketball, but let's get into it now. Let's finish off the sports side of things with we gotta do a tier list. So Duke. Well, I'm trying to think. What should we do? Best case, like best case they are putting best case they get to the Final Four. I'm talking to myself here, where it's like, okay, best case they get to the Final Four, don't necessarily win it, or is it you get to the Final Four and you win the Final Four? Let's do best case scenario where you get to the Final Four, win or lose. All right. Okay. Next teams, we have North Carolina. North Carolina this year, I think, could be a one and done. Tennessee, probably a one and done. Because isn't Tennessee one of those teams where they haven't gone? Actually, let's look it up right now. Where the farthest Tennessee has ever been. I think it's the Sweet 16. Oh, Elite Eight. They don't get to the Final Four. Yes. Okay. But that's the men's team. The women's team has gone farther. I believe this. Sorry. Still working out the kinks here. Okay, it worked. Okay. Michigan State. I think Michigan State can get to the Final Four. Louisville, again, probably a one and done. Louisville probably plays upset to where, I mean, I talked about it, hinted at it a little bit earlier in the stream, where they probably play upset to a Kansas team that's goofing around, not doing what they should. Because I whether it's Kentucky, whether it's UCLA, whether it's what are some other teams that have been really highly ranked? Virginia. What didn't Ja Morant, wasn't one of his big things in coming onto the scene was in 2019? Didn't him at Murray State upset a 2 seed Kentucky team or something like that? But yeah, I think Kansas could be one and done. Now again, if everybody's playing, they stay healthy, Kansas could probably get to the Elite Eight. Because, I mean, let's go look and see what bracket they were in. Which one? Yeah, they... Hold on, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. Sorry, people. Yeah, no. You look here. I think if Kansas doesn't horse around, they're going to go meet Duke in the regional final. Okay, so anyways. Let's go now over here. Let's get back to it. Illinois. Okay, let's put Vandy. No, not Vandy. Villanova. I'm gonna put Villanova as a dark horse. Now, there's context to it because when I'm talking about, like, you know, with the Villanova teams, sometimes you never really actually know. That was also when they had, you know, DiVincenzo, Brunson, Coach Wright, like the era of them winning and some, like, having runs. This was forever ago. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm gonna put Villanova here just because I don't know. Maybe there could be a breakthrough season. I don't know. A team that could definitely win the national championship. UConn. Well, and now that I've said that, whoops, I've jinxed you. You know what? No. I'm gonna keep them there, because for history book sake, and that purpose and reason, you look, because didn't Caravan just retired his number, at UConn being the winningest player. I don't know if it's for men's and women's, because again, in the 2010s, didn't their women's team win like 4 in a row, 5 in a row? Like, they were winning like 100 games in a row, like those streaks. So I'll put UConn up there because again, I mean, we are just one season actually, because they went back to back, and then last year was Florida. We're only 1 year actually removed from them not winning it, and they actually went pretty far last year. And so yeah, you never know. All right, Texas Tech, I'm going to put them here as a dark horse team because we have seen them beat the likes of high-ranked teams in the top 10, Arizona, BYU. I think they lost to Duke, but I don't think it was like a huge margin, like how, you know, what UConn put on St. John's the other night, 30. I think it was probably a 3-point, 4-point loss. But I'll put Texas Tech here as a dark horse team. Miami, Ohio, I'll also put them here as a dark horse team, where I think both. We'll see where Texas Tech gets ranked before we start. But there's Miami, Ohio. The Huskers are the next team, so I'll put the Huskers in that list. And then St. Louis in that list as well, where, yeah, the Huskers, Texas Tech, Miami, maybe Wisconsin will get there. But Miami has that unique opportunity where even if they win out, they'll probably stay hovering around that 11-6 seedish, where if you're not in the 11-6, you can be in the 8-9, which that'd be, I think that'd be a huge blow too, because I mean, they go undefeated and then, oh, who's the number 1 seed waiting for them after they win it? Well, and who was it in their side of the bracket? Let me go. UConn. Yeah, that blow. That absolutely suck. But yeah. So I'll take. Hmm, Sorry, my voice is getting a little raspy, but I think Miami has a unique opportunity, like a St. Peter's, um, NC State, Loyola Chicago, where it might not matter where they're actually ranked when the tournament starts because they made a meme about it. I didn't like the meme, but the last two teams, one of them was the 21 Gonzaga Bulldogs, and then the 98, I believe. Uh, I think that was the first final that Krzyzewski went to. But yeah, so Coach K is first, and Mark Few's most stacked roster. Don't yeah, the 23 roster was pretty nice, but the 2021 roster was, come on now. Um, that one had so many NBA players on it, but so those two teams, the stat is something like they win 30 plus games, um, or 29 plus games, 70 plus points a game. So it's again one of these weird stats where it's very specific. But the other two teams, that Duke and that Gonzaga team, they lost in the final. And so, yeah, let's not be surprised if Miami ends up where the only team in their way is, like, let's say there's a little bit of, we got a little bit of upsets here where up here in the top where we have Texas Tech. Yeah, let's say Texas Tech or Arkansas. Because let's say Auburn gets a weird upset on UConn, and then Texas Tech takes down Auburn, and then Miami's the only we have an undefeated Miami team versus Texas Tech, who barely beat UConn on a buzzer beater. I don't know. We could have, I don't know, maybe the momentum and the Cinderella story runs out of gas, and then Miami ends up winning. I don't know, because how many, there was like two or three buzzer beaters, I believe, in Loyola Chicago's run too when they got to the Final Four. Like, it happens. So, yeah, I think Miami's in a fun, unique situation. And all those sentiments that I made, I would say, and second the notion and put the Huskers there as well, because as much as I was calling for Miami, I was calling for Nebraska also to be ranked much better during the regular season. Sorry, I had to check, make sure my mic wasn't muted. Because Nebraska went 18 or 19-0, and they were undefeated until they played Michigan. They ended up losing to Michigan, but they only lost by 2 points, 3 points. It was a close loss. It was also in Ann Arbor, and so, and then at the time too, with them winning as many games as they won, there were other teams that were ranked in the top 25 that had 4 losses or 5 losses that were ranked above them, and it was kind of like, when are we going to start giving Nebraska credit? And how I would look at Nebraska is, remember a handful of years ago when Wisconsin went to Wisconsin or Oregon or who are some other teams where, wow, look at this, a 6 seed or a 5 seed, where it's like, look at them go, where they met up with the 1 seed and then took care of business or something. I don't know. UCLA, probably going to be a one and done. Kentucky, again, probably going to be a one and done. I could see Houston winning a national championship. We'll just see how it favors them and where things play out after conference tournament, because they're sitting at the 2 seed right now. But like, if they don't get that far, Because I don't. Well, hold on. Let me go look at some. Who? First slide, right? No. There. Again, Nebraska wins the Big Ten. They'll jump them. They'll jump Houston. If Texas Tech wins the Big 12, yes, they would jump from the 4 to the 2. I could very well see that. So we'll just have to see where there could be some things where I do think Houston could win the national championship. I mean, they've been to the Final Four. I think 3. They went in 21. They went in. They've been to the Final Four 2 times in the last 4 years, but they've also been to the Elite Eight like every single year, the last handful of years too. So, Arizona, I say this jokingly, but I also have a lot of like reason to joke about it. I don't know how far Arizona's going to get. I could see Arizona getting upset. I really could. Where, oh, look at that. Arizona goes and plays some team from the SWAC or the MAC or something, Sun Belt, where this team from the Sun Belt had to go on a freaking run and win on a buzzer beater or two to get into the dance. They end up being the 16 seed where they have to play in the first 4 matchup to even actually get in because they're still not in technically. And then they play Arizona where, oh, it's big bad Arizona. Arizona's going to whoop them by 30 and then whoops, because it's very possible. It is very possible. I'm going to put St. John's as a dark horse. Now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't put very many underdogs. I have really, like, I can see a couple because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 more teams. BYU. I'm gonna put BYU as a dark horse, and the only reason why I'm putting BYU as a dark horse is they're still missing Richie Saunders, and I think that's going to cost them. It's going to cost them something because I think, like we've seen it with college football, we've seen it with the NFL. Let's turn back the clock. Literally last week with Team USA against Team Canada. Yeah, I think having a full healthy team is really important, and with Team Canada, now, Crosby could have put up 5 shots, 6 shots against Hellebuck, and Hellebuck probably could have stopped all of them. But we'll never know. Maybe Crosby has a little bit more magic in him, because we won't know because he had that lower body injury. So, all right. Well, anyways, back to it. Saunders tore his ACL in the Colorado game, I believe it was, a couple weeks ago. And so we'll just see where BYU goes from there. Gonzaga, I think Gonzaga could get to the Final Four. Let me move them over here, which I know aesthetically it looks so bad because there's a background on it. My bad. Michigan, I think Michigan could win the national championship. Michigan, I think, went into their bag. They brought some guys in from the portal, improved roster spots. Coach May is a good coach. I don't know. Hold on, let me look up something. Sorry. I think at one point in the season they had the most wins against top. So there's a stat out there on them. I'm looking. It's a top 10 stat where it's like a played or won. It's one of those, kind of like how Duke right now sits with the most top 10 or top 25 wins. It's one of those where yeah, I think they went and got top recruits in the portal. That's another thing on why this roster was so stacked. But I don't know, man. Michigan, every 3 or 4 years, they go on a run. They go on a deep run. They get into the dance, make a little magic happen, and I think this could be a year where they do so. All right. Wisconsin. I'll put Wisconsin as underdog because we'll see. We'll see about Wisconsin. You know who I didn't put up here? Purdue. I don't, spoiler alert, there's no Purdue logo. Because I went, when we looked at the, I went down and I just kind of looked. And from the Purdue side of things, I don't think Purdue can beat Gonzaga. I don't think Purdue can beat... I think Purdue could probably beat BYU. But I mean, Purdue the other day, they didn't beat Ohio State, which this is what got Ohio State closer to that. Hey, maybe we could go dancing here. So I don't know. A lot of people were riding pretty high on Purdue this year. I wasn't. I think a big key piece on why Purdue was really good the last handful of seasons was Zach Edey, and he is not there anymore. All right. Florida. I'll put Florida here around the one and done, where, again, roster turnover. And if Florida ends up having to play like North Carolina, who won the ACC, or if, let's say Florida's a runner-up in the SEC, or they lose in the SEC tournament's Final Four or something like that, and then they end up matching with, let's take a little look here. If they stay at the 3 or they drop a little bit, for example, St. Louis. So St. Louis goes and wins their conference, or we have Wisconsin winning theirs, or something where, everybody thought Gonzaga's in the West. Everybody thought Gonzaga was going to win the West Coast Conference Championship against St. Mary's, but then no, it was actually St. Mary's who won it. And so then St. Mary's moves up a little bit, and then we have that 11-6 matchup where St. Mary's would be, actually, Florida. If Florida lost, let's say Florida moves down to 9 seed or something, or because St. Mary's would win, they'd move up. So, but 10? Could we have a 10? No. No. We'll do an 8-9, something like that. But then, yeah, who knows? You build a little bit of momentum in the tournament, before the tournament. Iowa State, I have no clue. I'll just put them as an underdog, and I'll put St. Paul as an underdog as well, too, because I haven't kept up as much with these two programs. I haven't kept up a lot with because the bigger teams that everybody has been talking about, UConn, Houston, Michigan, Duke, Michigan State, Gonzaga, Miami, Nebraska. Funny enough, I feel like I know a little bit more about Miami and Texas Tech and BYU than like St. John's, who could probably win the Big East. Or anyways, but that will be all on this side, guys. We will start wrapping up the stream. This is the sports side. I thank you guys for hanging out and watching. Be sure to hit that like button. Let me get some things queued up real quick here. We are gonna do a gaming stream, and so we will get that queued up. But let's get some things queued up here real quick. I would love to do, but I don't have it, so it's like freaking grr. Let me get some things queued up here. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds here. Ready? Oi! Watch this. Hold on. Whoa, too high. Is that good? Yeah, that looks good. Okay, then we'll bring this. Move this around here. Okay. Oh, nope. I know my controller batteries are low. Anyways, I thank you guys for watching. Let me go get this set up. But I'm glad you guys are here. Be sure to hit that like button. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I'm torn. I'm torn between what games to play. Right now, I don't know if we should do some John Marston epilogue or some Battlefront or go back to Deep Rock. Give me 2 seconds. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a couple rounds on this, and then we're gonna do about two or three rounds on this, and then we'll call it. The other reason too is I forgot. I didn't see what time it was. And so I can't be running squads all night. So we're just going to do, we're going to do a couple quick missions. If there's anything where, like how there has been in the past, where we can't load into an actual mission because we need more people in the lobby or something, then maybe, I don't know, we'll probably game for like a half hour or something, and then round it out to make sure it's like a 2-hour stream or something, because I can't game all night. We'll probably do that, because it's either do a couple rounds of this right here, right now, or hop off real quick and go to Deep Rock.
Close. That fighting us as troopers defending our home. Separatists are coming in fast. We need to lock down the genetic archive and keep the clankers out. You don't die for glory or the Republic today. You die for your brothers.
The way last stream ended where we just wasted my time.
slicing the archive. Trouble at the archive. Slicing sequence started. Ally landing, moving to assist. Last chance! Hold ready! Unidentified enemy deploying to the field. Problem at the archive. Unauthorized access. Archive's losing power. Computer attack. Warning! Got to the archive. This is bad. Enemy leader deploying. We did it, boys! We saved the next generation of troopers.
I don't like playing as the droids. I don't. I like rebels, clones, stormtroopers. All of it is fine. Like the droids, no. I can never get into it. Is this gonna work? Hopefully it does. If it doesn't, then we're probably gonna have to call it. Alright. Oh, it's working.
Secure. Remove any clones and make ready to march. New capture points selected. Barracks and hangar. This is our penultimate phase. Victory is within reach.
Alright, people.
Now capturing.
It is almost midnight.
Master Kenobi is now fighting with the clones. The clones will soon lose their barracks.
Here, but Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. Talked a little bit of college basketball. Played one round. Pretty shitty. Thank y'all for hanging out. We'll do... I think we do tier list.
The hangar is ready for capture.